All right, we are live. Hi, good evening. A warm welcome. Today we're going to talk about relationships. So, what is a relationship? A relationship is some kind of a bond between two people. That sounds very simple and very easy, right? So, relationship is nothing but a bond, an understanding, something that holds two people together. And yet, my friends, relationships are the most uh, toughest and the difficult things to maintain. Why? Right? I want you to think about the next few questions that I'm going to be asking you. Think about why is it that we go in and out of relationships? Why is it does accepting someone as they are become such a chore for you? Why is it so difficult sometimes to stay with someone? Your in laws, your spouse, even your children, roommates, even sometimes. Why is it that sometimes, even though you have taken a decision, you have found a soulmate, you find it so difficult to hold on to that someone? Why? These are the questions that need to be answered because in these questions lies the secret of why relationships break. And today we are going to talk about exactly that. Good evening. This is Harleen Bagga, and I am coming to you live from Soul Therapy with Harleen Bagga. I am a multidisciplinary psychotherapist. So, what I use to heal your emotional and mental scars is a combination of positive psychology, NLP, CBT, mindfulness, life coaching principles, and so on. It is my job to empower my clients in a way that gives them the strength and courage to go on with their lives and be able to take care of themselves in future. I am a specialist in interpersonal relationships and coaching for corporates. Today, we are specifically going to talk about why relationships break. Uh, to do that, I'm going to take you on a journey, a very short journey, but a journey nonetheless about your self awareness, especially in the context of our relationships. There are five broad buckets that cause issues where relationships are concerned. The five buckets are mindset, communication, expectation, comparison, and betrayal. Now, of course, this is going to be a live session, so we know we're going to be short on time, which is why we're going to be talking only about two things. Today, the conversation is going to be about communication and infidelity. Why is it that infidelity makes its way in? It's a pressing question and one that is at large today and looming in most of my clients. And it was important that we discuss that and figure out uh, why is it so difficult to hold on to someone that you love, right? Okay, so coming back. One thing that I do want to tell you, I am very, very excited to very excited to uh, tell you about my book that is going to be published and that's going to be available on Amazon next month. The book is titled Why Relationships Break. It has a lot of great information. It is authored like a handbook, which means it's going to benefit you and everyone around you to understand what happens and why we mess things up. That is key and critical. It has a lot of real perspective, aka my clients. Obviously, the names are hidden and redacted for confidentiality purposes, but it is a must read because it gives you tips and techniques on how to handle your relationships and keep them precious and in a healthy space where it belongs. Moving on. Today's first topic, first reason is communication. What is communication, friends? I'm sure you know the answer. Something came on your mind right now. What is communication? Now, depending on whom you're talking to, communication is about listening, communication is about talking, communication is about saying what you know. Where is understanding in this definition? Why do we leave the most important thing, which is understanding? Unfortunately, when we become parents, when we become authoritarian in our fields, when we become politicians, when we become teachers, coaches, we forget that communication is about listening, not only about talking. We grow into such a corner. We put ourselves into a corner where communication becomes about our self importance. It becomes about my self esteem instead of really it being about the other person. And this is where it goes wrong. So, today I'm going to talk to you about one of my clients. Obviously, the names are changed for confidentiality purposes. But using that as an example, I'm going to talk to you about the issues that these people faced when it came to communication and how it was fixed. So Shaila came to me, right, with communication problems that she was having with her teenage daughter. Shaila was very anxious. She was nervous. And she felt that she was losing her daughter to being to being popular, to being hollow, and to being someone who's pertinent in social media. Shaila thought her daughter was becoming someone that she had no control over. And that was freaking Shaila out. During the counseling sessions, when I met Shaila and I met Mia, her daughter, her 15-year-old daughter, it became very, very apparent to me that neither Sheila nor Mia were communicating to understand. It was a power struggle for them. And each of them wanted to come out stronger. It was about communicating and knowing what they knew. It was about talking about what they wanted to get across. It was not about understanding. And when there is no motivation to genuinely understand, the relationship got stuck in a downward spiral. And when that relationship is stuck in a downward spiral, what do you think is going to happen? That is a situation that we as parents bring ourselves into many, many, many times. If you are honest with yourself, you will realize that. How do we address it? We address it with awareness and knowledge. Again, because of lack of time, I'm going to pick up speed here. We're going to talk a little bit about what our listening blocks are and how I solve that issue with Mia. And then we're going to go on to infidelity. So there is something called as active listening blocks that we all employ, right? And these prevent us from actually understanding another person because the motivation just becomes me, I, me, myself, which is wrong. Let's quickly run through what the listening blocks are. First, external factors. If that relationship matters to you, put down all external factors away. You need to talk to them when there are no distractions. You cannot be talking to them with something running on TV. You cannot be talking to your child, your spouse, your in-law, your boss, your manager. You cannot be in a meeting when important decisions are being made when you are distracted with something else. That is not how communication is done, and that is the fundamental mistake that we make. So, wipe out and eradicate the external factors. Second, response rehearsal. How many of you are guilty about thinking of a response when someone is talking to you? I'm sure we all are. Because we all are so full of ourselves that when someone is talking to us, we're already thinking about, oh, what do I have to say? I have to look smart. I have to come across as being intelligent. So I am really just thinking about myself. So response rehearsal is the second thing you do. Third, fact finding. When you are listening to your children, or you're listening to a boss, you're listening to a manager, you're listening to a friend, you're listening to a webinar when someone is talking, instead of actually being open minded and taking in what the person is trying to say so that you can then assimilate, what do? You get into fact finding. What did that person say? Really? Is that true? No, I don't think so. I think that is wrong. Let me prove that person wrong. And you go to Google and you go to internet and you start checking for facts. If that is your motivation for communication, is it going to benefit your child? Is it going to benefit anyone other than you? Actually, it's not even going to benefit you. Third, the fourth thing is being judgmental. When you are being judgmental, you have already stopped listening. It's as simple as that. When a friend comes to you and says, you know what, um, uh, I am feeling unwell, I am mentally unwell, and you already make that judgment on that friend about, oh my God, she's depressed, oh my God, she's weak, you have stopped being a friend because you have judged. When a child comes and talks to you, Mom, this happened, and you judge, why will the child come back to you? Can you explain that to me when you have already judged? Next, problem solving. This is something that we all have. We each think we are this treasure chest of information where we love to solve problems, right? And this is seen a lot in the groups that I am a part of. Someone has a genuine problem and they talk about that problem, and everyone is all about putting their input. Oh, you know what, do this, you know what, do that. Is anyone really asking the question that will help them give a customized and more pertinent solution? No. The solution becomes about what I know and what can I say to come across as being intelligent and contribute. It becomes about your self-esteem versus really helping someone. A person with the right maturity will say, you know what? If you are having marriage issues, you are having issues with your husband or your in law, go approach a professional who has the capacity, capability, thought, and knowledge to help you. But do we say that? No. We are all about solving the problem, and you're solving the problem out of selfishness, not really to help that person. Next, parental advice giving. We love to do that, right? Where uh, this is our biggest listening block and our biggest problem that makes us awful parents. That was the biggest problem that Shaila had with Mia, where every time Mia came with something, Shaila was about, I know better, so let me talk to you, right? Where the discussion, the conversation, instead of it being a discussion, becomes a one-way street where I am just giving you information. And after the information is done, full stop. That's not good communication. And the last is imposing cognitive bias. When you have a fixed mindset, my friends, and you view your view as being the only one, you cannot really be listening to another person. And when you have that kind of glasses on, your communication can never be honest, it can never be sincere. And when your communication is not honest and sincere, there is no way that your relationship will work. Doesn't matter what relationship we're talking about. And the key to any relationship is communication. Honest communication, sincere communication with emotions and heart and thought, not about fooling one another. Once that happened, so it took a lot of counseling sessions where we made Mia and Shaila realize where they were going wrong. We did a deep dive into their scenario. And eventually, obviously, without getting into details, we were able to cure them. And today, they have a blissful and a healthy relationship where there is open communication between them. Sometimes the key to your problems are simple. Sometimes the key to your problems are in front of you. You just don't know it. It is very important to ask the right questions and to ask the right questions to the right people so that the right solution can come and can help you move forward. The next thing that I want to talk about is infidelity, right? This is something that I am seeing a lot of recently, where uh, unfortunately the person who is doing it is not really getting uh, the backlash from it, but the person who is facing it is getting the backlash, and here is the reason why. Uh, in olden days, okay, this is going to be a really interesting conversation. In olden days, marriages were supposed to be an economic enterprise. It was a transaction and some kind of an understanding between the man and a woman when they got into a monogamous relationship for economic arrangement, right? Where it meant that, okay, this one man is going to take care of this one woman and all the children that come from that relationship. But today, today, marriages is about a romantic enterprise. It is no longer an economic enterprise. Today, women are confident, women are earning, women are economically independent. So, today, when people get into a relationship, they are getting into a relationship with love in mind, right? In olden days, adultery was their answer for true love. I am not justifying infidelity. I am not justifying adultery. I am giving you information with which we can combat this issue and prevent us from becoming victims. Going back to the conversation, because it was an arrangement in olden days of different with different transaction variables, there was really no concept of true love, right? So people used adultery as their outlet to find that true love, to find that romance. But today we are getting into a relationship with romance, we are getting into a relationship with love. And because we are getting into a relationship with so many expectations, we also have expectations from our spouse. We expect our spouse to be that true love, the best friend, a great spouse, a fantastic parent, a passionate lover, an emotional companion, and even an intellectual equal. The list goes on and on and on. So, when you have this big laundry list in your mind on what a relationship is, and when infidelity seeps in, what does it do? Your self worth comes crashing down just like a deck of cards. You are questioning everything that you believed in. You are questioning everything that you are. Your own self worth is shattered because you are now asking yourself, am I not a good parent? Am I not a good friend? Am I not a good lover? Am I not intelligent? Am I emotionally incapable? Where did I go wrong? That is where we are going wrong. We are in trying to find a solution, we are unfortunately digging a hole for ourselves. And I have with me a not a couple, I would say quite a few patients right now who are sitting in that hole of despair where they have been cheated upon. So instead of tackling this, they have gone into this hole of anxiety, fear, and lack of confidence. How do you deal with it? And why does it happen? My biggest question that I want to answer today is, why does infidelity creep in and how do we avoid it? How do we as adults avoid it? This is your answer. Uh, Research has told us that the brain has three different areas when it comes to relationships. Okay, there's one area for lust, that there is a second area for romantic love, and there is a third area for emotional attachment, that sense of security. So the research, when these patients, when the clients who came in, when they were put into the MRI machines and we asked them questions, different part of the brains lit up for different questions under different scenarios. What that told the psychology community is that man is capable of having three parallel thoughts and living in three parallel worlds without getting affected from each other. What does that mean? It means that all of us are capable of having lust with one person, romantic love with another person, and attachment with the third person in parallel. What does that mean? That means that there are three chances for you to gain over someone. There are three ways in which you can use to make someone fall in love with you. That is the positive spin to it. There are three chances, three iterations, three different things that you don't really have to be perfect at. But if you're good at, that person becomes yours for life. And when you fail to do any of those, that is when the door opens and the woman or man goes out seeking for either lust, either romantic love, either attachment. The mistake or the devil here, the quiet devil here, is of course lust, right? It is very important to have your relationship with your mate or your partner be emotionally, mentally, and physically intimate, right? Physical, this is what those three areas are. Lust is physical intimacy. Attachment is emotional intimacy. Your romantic love is mental intimacy. When you are able to be intimate in all the three areas, you have found yourself a recipe for loyalty and a great relationship for the rest of your life. What does that mean? How do we do that? Romantic love is that feeling of being in love, that infatuation where the heart is racing, the mind is racing, and you are looking for that zing in a relationship. How do we get the romantic love to be there? Through imagination. Remember, a kiss is only as powerful as it is in your imagination. So, a romantic love, when you are in a relationship, right? Uh, Out of your marriage, either in an affair or someone before, or like what is shown in movies. Why is there that craziness to the romantic love? Because it is driven by imagination, it is driven by your thought processes. You need to create that kind of drive, that kind of zeal in your marriage today. Coming to physical intimacy, lust, there is nothing really much to talk about. You just have to do what you're doing and make sure you are understanding one another and uh, are able to get each other in a place where they want to be. It is not about one person driving. Everything is a two-way street, just like communication I spoke about earlier. It is about understanding. It is very important to understand what the other person wants, and it is very important for you to communicate what you want so that you can also be understood. The third thing is attachment, which is emotional intimacy. That is the sense of security, the sense of bonding that you have with someone. Unfortunately, in a lot of Indian marriages today, all we are left with is this emotional attachment, which becomes more like a duty. Yes, I have a home to go to. Yes, I have a wife who cooks for me. Yes, I have a husband who I'm answerable to. That does not sustain any relationship. So take this time out to figure out the ways in which you can uh, excite yourself and your partner in all the three areas of a relationship. There are multiple posts, there are multiple videos on my social media. So you can come and join, subscribe, look at my YouTube channel, look at my Facebook page. Like I said, there are a lot of free resources there. So getting on board and joining the community of soul therapy enthusiasts is one way of building that self-awareness and building a methodology in which you are checking yourself where you're going wrong and are able to course correct so that you are not in a hole any further. That was my session for today. Again, you can find this book with a lot of bullet points, tips, and techniques next month on Amazon. It will read it and come back to me with feedback, come back to me with questions, because my quest is to create that community, a community where we are building each other up. It's not about tearing each other down. It's about creating the right mindset, the right communication techniques, the right relationships to share happiness all around. We are done with the session. If you have any questions, I will wait. If not, I will close this session. You can also reach me on my Facebook page. I also do a live series every Thursday where I am doing all this for free. I am answering your questions, real issues, real perspectives every Thursday, 7 p.m. IST on my YouTube channel. To get on that channel, you need to subscribe to it and reach me on any resource that I have, and I promise I will get back to you. Even if I don't cover your question on my live series, because there are a lot of questions, I will get back to you in the medium that you had got in touch with me, and we will get through it. My job is to help you. And I want you to help me to create that community that I'm after. Thank you very much, folks. It's been a great session. Hopefully, you use this information to benefit from it and understand how to communicate better and how to build relationships in a manner where we don't give a chance for betrayal to seep in. Thank you very much. Good night and bye now.